Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mindset and Muscle. We are on episode 2 here. We are going to be covering, by popular demand, the chest and tricep workout. So a lot of people ask me about my chest workout, so we are going to be we're on our way to the gym right now to go ahead and crush chest and triceps. We will be filming that. As before, I will break down all of the exercises that I do, the form, some key things that you should look for in those exercises. And as always, feel free to ask any questions you have about the workout down in the comments section below. So super amped up for this. We got our pre-workout meal. Typically I will eat that about an hour and a half to 2 hours before I train, so it has time to fully digest. And then we got our pre-workout / intra-workout in before as well. I'll usually do like half a scoop of a pre-workout, a scoop of BCAAs, and a scoop of creatine, around 10 grams of creatine. I'll start drinking that 20 to 30 minutes or so before the workout, and then I'll fill it up with plenty of water and drink that all the way through the workout as well. So good time to get in the creatine, multivitamin, aminos, all of that stuff, since you already have a lot of blood going to the muscle that you're going to be training. Take advantage, fill that body with those nutrients that you can shuttle into the muscle. So timing isn't huge on that. If you have to take it a different time, but for me, optimally, it's taking it before, during, and after the workout is the ideal window for your creatine, your vitamins, all that good stuff. So pulling into the gym now, about to train chest. Love it. I love chest training. I love tricep training, so this is going to be a good day. I will see you all after the workout. Chest and triceps, here we go. So we started off the chest workout with an incline dumbbell fly. This is a great way to kind of stretch out the shoulders, stretch out the pecs, get a good range of motion, and warm my way into the heavier compound movements, as well as do a slight pump, mind-to-muscle connection, and pre-exhaust of the pecs. You'll notice I'm doing these almost as a fly press, so it's not a pressing movement. I am getting the deeper stretch of a fly, but at the same time, I'm not keeping my arms super straight. I find for me, if I do that, I feel a lot more in my shoulder and rotator cuff, so I want to keep this in a stronger position and be able to move some heavier weights. So don't go super low repetitions here. We did 2 warm-up sets and then 3 working sets, none of them to true failure. We're still building back into the dumbbell flies since we haven't done these in a little while. They were an absolute favorite of Arnold's, those to stretch out the chest, and obviously he is a legend in the chest development department. After the flies, we moved on to a hammer strength incline press. We did a couple warm-up sets here and then moved into 1 rest pause set for a total of 15 to 20 repetitions. So I aimed for 8 to 10 on my first set. We got that there right about failure. After that, drop the weight, take 10 to 15 breaths, about 20 to 30 seconds or so of rest, and then we jumped right back in with the same weight, knocked out another 5 or so, and then one more time, take a deep breath, gather yourself 20 to 30 seconds, right back in with the same weight, getting another 2 or 3 repetitions, and then we finished off with partials. So I believe we got the first 2 sets filmed, didn't get the last part, but after I reach failure, when I'm on my third and final part of the rest pause, I like to do partial repetitions until absolute failure, just to fully obliterate the chest. So this was kind of the main heavy compound movement here. Absolutely love this machine. It allows you to really stabilize yourself and focus on contracting the chest without having to stabilize the weight so much. So I like free weights, but I also like machines. My opinion, use both. So after the incline hammer press, and again, we got one more rest pause in there, we moved on to a machine flat press. I really like this machine for the contraction I get in the chest. We did 2 working sets, 1 heavy set, and then 1 back off set of slightly higher repetitions. I feel a really good contraction in my chest with this, really pumps up the chest. I'll alternate one chest day, I'll do this machine, and the next chest day I will use dumbbells and do dumbbell flat press. So again, it's good to get a variety of free weights and machines, find what works for you, what exercises you're really able to get that mind to muscle connection with. The other benefit to machines is they allow you to go to failure safely without putting yourself in a dangerous position, especially without a spotter. The final exercise for chest, we finished off with some chest flies. We were aiming for 2 sets of 15 repetitions here. We did a 2-count squeeze at the top of every single rep, focusing on flexing the chest as hard as we could at the top, and then a 2-count stretch at the bottom of every single rep. So 1, 2, down to the stretch, 1, 2, back to the squeeze. You'll notice here I have a foam roller placed behind my back to really allow me to open up that scapula, get a good stretch on the chest. This machine is, while I absolutely love the feel of it, is also designed rather poorly, as it does not allow for a good stretch. Without having something pushing against that chest pad, I don't get a good range of motion. I get absolutely no stretch in my chest, so this is my way around it, and I absolutely love this. So if you have this machine in the gym, give it a try. I much prefer these to standing cable crossovers, as this allows you to be very stable and just focus on contracting your chest without having to balance, get your feet set right, and without having to focus too much on your core, especially as you get heavier and are able to use higher weights. So that was chest. We then moved on to triceps. We did 4 exercises for chest and now 4 for triceps. We started off with cable crossover tricep extensions. This is like a rope tricep press down. I prefer this to the rope though. It allows you to get a little bit fuller range of motion out, especially if you have wider shoulders, and it allows each arm to work individually. This also alleviates the issue if you feel the rope is slightly imbalanced and you can feel one side stronger than the other. This takes care of that. So absolutely love this exercise for the contraction I get on the triceps. You don't have to go too heavy. This one is all about control and feeling the deep squeeze and burn on every single repetition. Focus on those triceps. Focus on getting a good pump back there, feeling the burn isolated there, like you're flexing and posing the triceps at the bottom of every rep. Definitely give this exercise a try, one of my favorites. We then moved on to the heavier mass movement for triceps, which in today's workout was a machine dip. You can use this variation or you can use a plate-loaded hammer strength, whichever you prefer. This was the one that was open for today, so we went with it. Again, nice and controlled, focusing on getting a good contraction on the tricep. It's easy to load up the weight with a lot of ego lifting and just press with your shoulders and with your lower chest. So really try and focus on keeping, I like to actually flex my traps and shoulders up at the top and then just focus on extending my arms down. You can actually see my traps and my shoulders pushing through my shirt there as I'm trying to keep them constantly engaged to stabilize myself. So all the movement is in the elbow joint. Great exercise for triceps. We did 3 sets there, and then we moved on to a superset of reverse grip tricep extensions on the cable. And immediately after we got 20 repetitions there, we flipped our hands over and did a narrow grip overhand tricep extension. So it's 20 reps reverse grip, 20 reps overhand grip. And this will give a great pump. Again, this one's not so much about the weight, just about good form, locking yourself in the groove, and getting a good pump. This was the second set out of the 2. So you'll notice I did a mini rest pause just to make sure that I was keeping form fairly tight. If you feel yourself swinging around or like form is getting a little bit too loose, you can just take a quick break, 1 or 2 breaths, and then jump back in with perfect form. So we flipped our hands over and went straight into 20 more repetitions with an overhand grip. I was really fatigued at this point, so you'll notice my range of motion is a little bit shorter here. But at this point, I was just focusing on contracting the triceps as hard as I could, pushing as much blood into the muscle as possible. Really good exercise. After we knocked out, that was 10, we paused for a second, and then did 10 more. After we got the 20 there, we moved on to the final exercise for triceps, which is a rope overhead tricep extension. So I always like to do some form of overhead tricep extension in my workout, as that having your arms up in that overhead position really allows you to stretch and engage that inner head, the long head of the tricep, that big meaty portion on the inside of the arm. The nice thing about the gym I was at today, they have the long rope, which allows me to get a little bit more of a contraction, better range of motion. I just prefer this rope. If you don't have it, you can obviously use a standard rope, or you can even take 2 ropes if that's not being greedy and hogging it, and clip those on to create for yourself a longer rope. But focus on getting full range of motion, good stretch at the bottom, get as many reps as you can where you're bringing the rope slightly apart at the top to get an extra emphasis on contracting the triceps. When you can't get any more bringing the rope apart, just keep those hands mashed together and pump out as many repetitions as you can from there. And then, as always, I finished with a couple partials, which in this case were very short partials, as I was absolutely fried. So that was triceps, that was chest. Phenomenal workout. If you have any questions about it, let me know below. This is a great question, common question I get. So in order to answer it in depth, I will be doing a full day of eating video where I go over all the food that I eat and why throughout the day. Right now I'm currently eating 6 meals a day and getting in roughly 3,500 calories. So that's at the start of this mass gaining growth phase. So obviously that's going to ramp up a lot more as time goes on, but coming out of a slight deficit, 3,500 has been plenty so far to get the process started. So we'll go into more detail with the diet on my full day of eating video, so stay tuned for that. I've got 2 muscle groups that were particularly hard for me to grow. One of them is a cliche, and that is calves. Legs in general were always kind of behind upper body for me, as I do have longer limbs, longer legs. My glutes wanted to take over any sort of quad and hamstring exercises, and then my Achilles tendon wanted to take over calf exercises. So I was able to feel a really good burn in the muscle, but it wasn't until I learned how to train that muscle correctly that they really started to grow. So they're catching up now. I've made massive progress on both my legs and my calves, so very happy about that. I will show you in future videos how I train my calves and got them to respond. The other muscle group I have a hard time growing is my abdominals. So some people just genetically have abdominals that pop. Even if their body fat is a little bit of a higher percentage, you can still see their abs. For me, even when I'm very, very lean, I have to actually train my abdominals to get them to pop out. So they're coming along, they're growing, we're on a good program for them. In fact, you already saw a little bit earlier in this video some of one of the 2 abdominal circuits that I do to train them, but I've been bringing them up consistently as well. So we have that nice 6-pack look on stage. Favorite protein source? Hands down for me, the top 2 are beef or steak and eggs. Easily. The protein sources, my body digests and absorbs those really well. They're full of micronutrients as well, healthy fats for testosterone production and all of that good stuff. So I absolutely love steak and beef. Beef and rice is one of my favorite meals. And then eggs, egg whites, absolutely love those too. Some other great protein sources, if you're looking for them, obviously chicken, turkey, fish, good quality whey protein powder. Those are all awesome protein sources as well. But if I just had to pick one, it would be beef or steak, but eggs is right there with it. Ooh, this is a good one. if I could only have 5 exercises to train my entire body. Now, obviously, this is a hypothetical scenario. I would never recommend, if you are bodybuilding, just training with 5 exercises. In fact, if I had to have just 5 exercises, I think I would kind of shift my focus away from going for professional bodybuilding to attempt pushing myself to the limit in something else, just because it is so restrictive. But for the sake of argument, let's say I'm trying to build the best physique possible and I only get 5 exercises. One of those exercises is going to be the squat. That's going to cover the leg base. Now, if I had to pick a squat, I would pick some sort of squat machine, because again, with my longer legs, I found a lot better progress with a squat machine. But trained correctly, you can do wide stance, hit the inner thighs, narrow stance with your feet down a little bit, hit the quads, feet higher on the platform, train the hamstrings and glutes. So you can get phenomenal entire leg development from the squat. So that would cover that. For back, I would do deadlifts and pull-ups. Those two methods, or those two exercises, I would use to train the traps, the entire back, the lats, the rhomboids, the rear delts. All of that would be attacked in those two exercises. You'd also get some hamstrings and glutes in the deadlift. So anything that wasn't hit posteriorly from that squat would be covered from the deadlift. Pull-ups are just a phenomenal exercise for lat width, overall back development and detail. You can build up to doing them weighted. You can use a variety of different grips with that exercise, so a lot of bang for your buck there. Next would be some sort of chest press. If I had to pick one, and this is very, very difficult, I personally really like the incline, shallow incline Smith machine chest press. Any sort of slight incline machine press, even a slight incline dumbbell press, I really like. I'm torn between those two, but a shallow incline chest press would be the 4th exercise. So we've got a squat machine, deadlifts, pull-ups, the shallow incline chest press. That would also attack the triceps. You can use a narrower grip to train that. Man, I'm torn. I think I would have to go with some sort of lateral raise for the final exercise. As tempting as it is to do direct arm work, I would have to get that arm work from the pull-ups. You could do a reverse grip to work the biceps, and then a narrow grip on the chest presses for triceps. But that's hard. If I had 10 exercises, I think I could do it. I could put together a really good list. But if I had to just pick 5, this would be it. I do. At least 3 days a week, I practice posing. In fact, you can check out my posing practice progress, a lot of P's right there, on my Patreon, one more P. I'll put the link in the description below. You can check that out. I post 3 videos a week. Some of them are funny flexes, pec bounces, all of that good stuff. But I do post every Friday a flexing video, so you can keep up to date on my physique, my posing practice, and all of that 10 to 15 minute posing video. So you can check that out for posing. But yes, to answer your question, I do practice my posing 3 times a week. Even though we're starting an off season, since this is a serious push for the pro card, I want to be practicing my posing now as early as possible and just build into it even more as we actually get into prep. So that is just second nature, and I have everything perfected by the time I step onto stage. Can just enjoy the process and grab that IFBB card. So those were some phenomenal questions. I hope you learned something from this video. As always, leave any questions you have down in the comment section below, and I will get to them in a future video. You can also let me know what you are interested in seeing down there. We'll be covering a full day of eating video, as I mentioned, as well as training other muscle groups. But let me know what you would like to see, what's going to motivate you, and I will provide the content based around that, as I absolutely love to see you guys progress and be motivated alongside with me in this journey. So thank you so much as always for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.